Hey YouTube, it's Mark here. I'm just going to record a video update this morning. I did just try and record one earlier, but the phone storage was full, so it stopped that. I did record an update yesterday morning also, much longer update. That failed to upload, and I kind of know why now anyway, even though the internet here is not great, because my situation changed fairly dramatically overnight yesterday, and so I now know why this kind of long update that I planned to do yesterday didn't upload. So I just want to bring you guys up to speed really on a few things. So regarding the house, it looks like we're probably going to receive an offer on that. I suspect maybe on Monday, and you know, from there on I think things are going to move fairly quickly. With regards to what was going to happen after that, I wasn't too sure, to be honest with you. I'd looked at various options, such as renting a room, such as renting an apartment, flat sharing, upping and moving to the Philippines. You know, there was a few options that were being posited. All of them carried a certain significant expense, certainly the options here in the UK, so I was gravitating more towards leaving to go to the Philippines. And in the update that I recorded yesterday, I was actually talking about that in a bit more detail and about some of the things that have been going on. However, all of that has been superseded and undermined by an event that took place yesterday. Now, just to give you a bit more background, with regards to my son, so I have three sons. Some of you may or may not know this. I have three sons, James, Ethan and Leon. James, my eldest son, is in the British Army, so he has a place on a military base. He's very independent. He has his own car and his own life, and so on and so forth. My two younger sons are together, and they've been together since the divorce and separation that happened way back in, well, the separation was in 2010. For me, or 2009 in reality, and then, you know, my ex-wife took my two sons just out of the blue, moved in with her partner, and yeah, just took my sons. And then we you know, well, when I say we, she, you know, dictated a certain type of arrangement that I could have with the boys, and that's something that we followed for a number of years, and it became a bit more flexible over time. And I mean, my relationship wasn't obviously great, but you know, for the sake of the boys, it was as well as it could have been. My ex-wife passed away a few years back, and very suddenly, very dramatically. And I recorded a video just the day before about dreaming of her salvation, which I might link here if I can remember to do that. And I remember when I arrived that day, obviously very traumatic. Everybody just absolutely devastated. But the one thing that the family was pleading, and also the partner of my ex, was that, you know, the boys would just stay there within that arrangement, and you know, because I could have just gone in there and taken them out, and that would have been it. But I was living with my dad at the time. It wasn't really a practical solution to the situation, and also didn't want to be particularly disruptive. Especially with the schooling of my kids, because I mean, I live in a completely different town, so you know, it would have been significant upheaval for them, and ultimately it was agreed that we would just keep them as they were at the time, and you know, it felt like there was a lot more security for me, and a lot more decision making for me. And it's funny, you know, what was it, a year or so later, my ex-wife's partner, when I was away in the Philippines, went to court and got custody, and at the same time claiming that I just couldn't be bothered to show up even though I was overseas. So, you know, despite my goodwill and the intentions, you know, I was still treated poorly at that time, and it just keeps going on. And the thing is, I can, you know, I've learned to deal with that. You know, I've been treated poorly for many years now, and you know, just you kind of almost get used to it sometimes. And So the situation sort of carried on again, and it was a little bit more unpleasant, I suppose. But the bombshell that was dropped yesterday was that this person, this guardian, I guess you could say, this legal guardian of my two youngest sons, just texted me out of the blue and said, I can't bring them back. They have to leave the country. They're an American national, by the way. They're an American national. They have to leave the country. They can't legally work here anymore. They can't afford the rent. This problem, that problem, and trying to sort of get me to stay in my dad's house, even though I'm forced to sell it and I'm forced to leave. Can't you do this? Can't you do that? And just out of the blue, just kind of terminating it. So again, like I said, I can handle being treated like that myself, but when it's my sons, it's very difficult. And it all escalated unbelievably quickly yesterday. From no problems at all to you can't bring them back, you've got to keep them and see you later, essentially. And this all happened out of the blue yesterday. So my two youngest sons were, they were pretty upset about the whole thing, because you have to remember that they have a life there as well, friends, schooling and all the rest of it. My middle son has finished school and college and was looking for a job in the area. My youngest son is still at school. And if you've heard me talking about him before, he has been diagnosed with autism. I have a major problem with that diagnosis anyway, because he has no issues really, that you would expect to accompany that diagnosis. But that's what he's been diagnosed with, and he goes to a specialist school. So, I'm still in the same town where I was, X years ago when my ex-wife passed away. So this has created some significant problems. Obviously I'm happy to be with my sons. Nothing pleases me more than that. But it's created absolute turmoil, because I'm in the midst of selling my dad's house. I've got nowhere to go currently. And I'd originally been looking at, as I think I said at the beginning of this video, or I might not have done, apologies. I'd originally been looking at actually going to the Philippines, and starting to sort a few things out there. And I'd gone so far as to acquire my visa last week. It's just a small short-term visa, but that's the first time I've ever done that. And I was due to collect that, and I'm still due to collect it Tuesday next week, so I will. But it's unlikely I can actually use that now. So it's put a delay on that process, and that's upsetting for a lot of reasons. Obviously, there was, I really wanted to kind of sort that out. So it's now gone from the situation where I was potentially looking at leaving and going to the Philippines, and all of my sons were okay with this. They were all safe and secure, so to speak, at the time, and personally had no issues with it at all. And it's gone from that now to me needing to find an apartment for me and my two sons, at least in the short term. So the update that I'm sharing with you today is that, that's what we're going to be doing. That's what we have to do. My son's still at school here. So it's kind of scuppered moving to the Philippines, now, which is something that I was, really seriously looking at, to probably being... probably next year in terms of actually moving. Now, this doesn't change the fact that I can still go to the Philippines. My sons are not, 10 or 12. My middle son is 20 this year. So, my sons aren't, young children, but they are young adults, and it's still not the right time under these circumstances to leave. It just isn't. It's not the right thing to do. It's not the right time. So my immediate focus now, certainly upon selling my dad's property, is to find most likely a 2-bedroom apartment in Surrey. Now, the prices are just ridiculous, and it's going to cause me significant financial hardship, and it was something that I was looking to avoid. I'd written off a 1-bedroom apartment because it's just too expensive. If you're in the UK and you kind of understand, in Surrey it's about £1,000 a month, and I don't have £1,000 a month really to do that. not to sort of, not to sort of, rent that and be able to live even remotely normally. So, to now extend that to a 2-bedroom and to take on all of those responsibilities to actually manage that situation is difficult. So this is potentially a short-term situation. There's not a lot I can really do about it. I have to go down this road because my sons need a place to stay. We'll likely be moving closer to my youngest son's schooling, so that's close to Woking. If you know your UK geography and if you know Surrey at all, it's likely to be Woking. And yeah, we're going to have to do that fairly quickly and get established there. It's, as I said, it's not going to stop me, brethren, from going to the Philippines. My sons can still manage themselves if I'm doing that, or accompany me if it's possible, of course. Longer term that will change, but my sons need to be established in the UK if that's where they're going to stay. I mean, part of me is hoping that they will now accompany me in the future, but that's a slightly longer term future. But the short term future, I need to be in Woking or the local area for the sake of my youngest son. I need to be, in that area, and it does change things. And the one thing that I want to do on this video is petition you all, if you're watching, to consider helping me. This isn't a ministry thing. This is a Christian asking for help, because I am, from a salary perspective, a single man. I have several obligations, including to my wife already, and this is going to put an immense financial hardship on me, certainly in the short term. And it's something that I need help on in the here and now. So I'm hoping that if you're watching this, that you'll feel inclined to help me in some manner. There's not a lot of people that watch my videos. There's even less people that correspond with me. I could count them on one hand currently, the people that correspond with me. So I'm not expecting any real responses, to be honest with you. It's difficult like that, but I still need to put the video out. I still need to make the update. I still need to make the request, and I'll leave the rest in the Lord's hand. And if you're watching this and you feel led to help, then please do. The details will be in the description box, where they always are. You just click on the link and you can send something if you like. So this isn't me asking for a ministry thing, and it's to support me as a minister. It's to support me as a Christian. As I go into a period of protracted hardship, and I'm hoping that it's just a short-term kind of thing, and that once I get it all established, I'm fine. Outside of this, brethren, I'm looking at a number of secular opportunities that are to do with the longer-term plan to live in the Philippines, and one in particular is looking very, very interesting. I've got 3 opportunities ultimately. One's been long term, maybe a couple of years, and it's just not really happening, and I've stopped being so hopeful about that one because it just never seems to materialize. Another one is guaranteed for a year, and that was something that I was hoping to make use of to begin that process, but I don't know what's going to happen with that now. I'm hoping I can still avail that and still do that work. The third one is something that's cropped up very recently, and it's actually working for an Australian company, and it's to do with recruitment and to do with the Philippines, and it looks very, very exciting and very, very promising, and that's the one that I'm particularly keen on, because if I can make that a success, then I can just turn everything around, brethren. So I'm particularly keen on that one. And I would appreciate your prayers for this opportunity in Australia. And again, it's not that I would go to Australia. It's I can do that all online, all, from home, so to speak. So I'm, again, out of all of this, and given the situation, yes, it's troubling, and yes, it's changed things, but I'm still hoping that I can kind of turn it around in the right way. And I don't believe in coincidences or happenstance. I don't believe in them at all. Where I am now in Ilmington, Warwickshire, it's not very far away from a lot of my family history. So I'm here and I felt incredibly relaxed, and it's just a very short weekend away with my two sons, and it's here together that we received this news, and we were able to just sit and talk about it for a few hours, and we're in a kind of comfortable environment, and we talked about that. It was upsetting at the time, and then we kind of started to sort of reason out what we could do, and we're talking about that. We went out to have something to eat last night. It's like a rare kind of sort of dinner together, and it was nice. It was okay, and we were all right after that. Especially when we started talking about the sort of immediate plans, and it was good to just kind of talk that over. And a few weeks back, brethren, I would have just spiraled deep into depression. I think this would have really damaged me a couple of weeks back. But as you know from my videos and some of the things that I've been talking about recently, I've managed to kind of turn it around, especially the Psalm 88 video and praying in the morning, reading the scriptures has been really important for me recently, and it's helped me get back on track. And I credit those things with being able to take the news that I received yesterday without being just devastated by it. It's bothered me, yes, I'm annoyed, but I'm not, despondent. I would have been a week ago. 2 weeks ago, I would have been really just all over the place and really upset and really down and everything. But I've not been like that this time, because I can still see this future playing out. So, I believe that we're here for a reason, even though it's just temporary, just this week. And I believe that we're here in this place for a reason. I believe that we're together for a reason. And actually, it's interesting that, we've come together this weekend as a family and just enjoying our time together. I had originally viewed this as potentially one of my last weekends with my sons, and it now seems to be the first weekend of many. So it's nice in that way that it's kind of just been completely turned around, because I was a little bit down about it actually. Leaving on Friday and just driving up to this place, and in the weather as well, which wasn't great. And I was a little bit upset actually, because I really did think that this may potentially even be the last weekend that I had with them. I really believed that. And, I was just looking to make the best of it, and for us to, just have a nice time together and all the rest of it. But as I said, it now seems to be the first weekend of many. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy to be with my sons. It was always something that I wanted. And every prayer that I was making, brethren, when I was driving in the car to work, dropping them off on the weekends and all the rest of it, every time, every day, every prayer was the same. That I wanted a home here in the UK, that I wanted a home in the Philippines. Now, I have a home in the Philippines already. What I don't have is a home in the UK, and I think that that's what's going to happen now. And it's going to be something that's probably going to be maintained, at least in the sort of the next year or two. And it will allow me to just, remove the final external influence on this whole situation to my life. Because even going to the Philippines, brethren, I still had to ultimately secure approval in one form or another from my ex's partner. I still had to just make sure that the dates were okay and this was fine. Now I don't have to bother with that. It's not going to be a stumbling block or a hurdle anymore. So I'm actually quite happy about that. So it went from being quite a difficult chat yesterday with my sons to actually seeing, the positives to all of this. So, that's why I want to record this video update today. I want to try and keep it a little bit small so I can actually update it and upload it. But yeah, it's looking really promising, and I have some hope out of this situation now. So as I said, the immediate situation now, brethren, I'm expecting an offer possibly Monday next week. I'm expecting something to transpire next week with regards to the sale of my dad's estate. Off the back of that, and probably almost immediately, I'm going to be looking at a property for me and my son to stay in, and I need to just action that immediately. And the thing is, as I said, brethren, I need help with that as soon as possible. So, if you're watching this as a Christian to another Christian, I'm asking you to help me. Please do consider that. I'm hoping going forward that it's just not going to be this case. You know, I don't want to be a burden on the body. There is no such thing as a salaried full-time minister. It just doesn't exist, and I've never sought to become that because the scriptures don't support it. And I've seen things going on here on YouTube, by the way, about people and money, and it's not a good thing. You know, ministry sort of almost demanding it, and it's not a good thing to be like that. You know, I believe that Christians should just help one another. You know, Romans 12 talks about helping one another, preferring one another, you know. And I believe that that's what we should be doing. I mean, you know, if I have a petition for help, then I do what I can to help. You know, if someone says, oh, you know, I've got a problem with this, you know, bill, you know, car trouble, this problem, that problem, whatever it might be. If I can help someone, I do it, you know. And if you know me, if you've talked to me for any length of time, you know that quite a lot of the money that gets sent to me, I just give it away. I give it away to Christians who need it, that are more deserving than me. You know, I find it very difficult to accept it and have it for myself. And as I said, there'll be a number of you watching this that know that I've done this and know that I've done this perhaps even for you. So that's my plan, you know, going forward. So, you know, as I said, if you do feel inclined to help me, please do, because I really desperately need it at the moment. Certainly in the immediate short term. Going forward, once I get established, I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case. I'm hoping to arrange some things in the Philippines as well in the coming months that are going to further take the pressure off. I'm hoping that these secular opportunities that I'm looking at are also going to come into play, and I'm hoping ultimately in a few months to be in a much better position, much more secure, much more financially safer. As I said, I don't want to be a burden on the body, brethren. And making a video like this as well, talking about this update, and making petition is something that I don't like to do anyway, and I don't want to be doing it. But as I said, it's not requesting as a ministry thing, you know, to go to the Philippines and do this thing. It's nothing like that. It's requesting help as a Christian. You know, I need help as a Christian. It's really that simple. So yeah, that's kind of it, I guess, really. So it's been pretty traumatic yesterday, but we've kind of overcome that a few hours later from the bombshell being dropped, and we're now in a position where we're making plans for the immediate short-term future. And yeah, it's kind of it, I suppose, really. So yeah, I want to keep this video a bit shorter, but you know, if you do want to leave a comment, please do. If you want to send me an email, BibleBelieverUK@gmail.com. Let me know your thoughts. You know, counsel is welcome, of course. Prayers are very welcome, and support, of course. You know, please do consider all of these things and let me know your thoughts, so I can see how the Lord is working this out. I don't believe in happenstance. I don't believe in coincidence at all. You know, I believe that this is all kind of being angled this way for perhaps a reason I'm not entirely sure of at the moment, but I can see where it's going, and that is something that I've been asking the Lord for recently, to just kind of see that path, you know, partially even, you know, just kind of see where it's going. And now part of that's been revealed to me yesterday. So, you know, I'm sharing that with you guys watching this. So anyway, I'll cut short this video now. I'll look to try and post some more updates going forward. I may have a fairly significant update next week with regards to my dad's house. I'm praying and hoping that will be the case. Yeah, that's kind of it, really. So thank you for watching. God bless and Godspeed. Thank you.